Welcome, 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 welcome. Um, you're welcome to Code Crush. If you're just coming across our channel, I indulge you to like and subscribe. Code Crush is a channel that shares about or talks about web development. Well, I say the in and out of software engineers. So, for your snippet, your tutorials, tricks and tips about web development and web designing. Well, actually, today we'll be talking about web development. And for you to be in this video, definitely you are one of those that want to learn about web development, and you search for resources, and here we are. So we're going to understand the in and out of web development and the best practices and what not to do and how to go about becoming a web developer. So first of all, let's understand what web development is. Web development is the process of building and maintaining website and web applications. To develop it, to build, to maintain. You build and you maintain a website and web application. That's web development. And it involves several different technologies, which include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's just like, will I say, the basics, because HTML is, which is called a hypertext markup language, is the structure of your website. The structure of your website, the content, what do you want to be in your website. That's your HTML. That's what HTML allows you or gives you room to do, and CSS, the cascading style sheet, is just as the name implies, is to style your HTML, is to style it. So CSS is mainly for styling, and the JS, which is JavaScript, is for the functionality of your website. Take it as a human body. Like your web development is like a human body, where your skeleton is the structure of the body. The skeleton makes the framework of the human body, and the skin and the beautification of the skin makes the CSS. The skin takes the shape of the skeleton, mostly take the shape of the structure, and also beautify the body. It is true, the body, someone that is beautiful and someone that is not beautiful. Let's say, applying makeup, your hairstyle, eyelashes, your lips, whatsoever advances you can do in your body to make it look more beautiful, or to add, to correct a defect or something. That's like the CSS in web development. Then the movement you make, the reflexes and the non-reflexes you make, your running, the jumping, the eating, and all of that, that's the function part of the body, and that's how JavaScript works. So when you put in the skeleton, the skin, and the functions, you make a human body. So when you combine your HTML, your CSS, and your JavaScript, which is like the basic, you make a website. And that is just that for that's the basic you need to understand at this level about web development. And you also have some various back-end programming languages, which we will not going to be discussing about for now. Maybe in a later time that can be discussed. So understanding web development, it can be very challenging, especially for those of us who are new to the field. However, by following best practices, you can make the learning process more manageable and enjoyable. By knowing what not to do, what to do and what not to do, the best time to do it, how to do it, and I'll be giving us 7 best practices to put in. You know, First, for you to begin with web development, you have to start with the basics. Yeah, it can be very advanced as time goes on, but as a first timer, you have to start with the basics. And that's why I'm sticking with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because it's just like the basic of web development. So before doing into advanced topics like the frameworks, back-end programming, and all of that, it is essential that you have a solid foundation in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So these three can take you far. Even before, you need to know how these three works before you start going into frameworks and another how do I call it, another programming. So like, these are the building blocks of the web, and understanding them will give you a better understanding of how web development works. So after you must have start with the basics and you're comfortable with it and you have had the foundation of it, the next practices is you need to practice. You need to practice. That's the next learning process. So it's not just about learning tutorials, but engaging in boot camping and the rest. You need to put in those knowledge you have gained. You need to practice, and definitely here at Code Crush, we believe more on practicals, because the reason why we are giving you some level of theory is to build the mind, to give you that a rocking chair to lean on while we take you through the practicing processes. So we have tons and tons and tons of tutorials of creating different websites and different web applications. Just stick around and we're going to take you through it. So you need to practice and practice and practice. That's the best way to learn web development. Is by doing it. If you don't practice, if you're just stuck in the tutorial loop, just watching and watching and watching, it's not as if you have gotten the knowledge. You just know about it. But when you keep on practicing, you create your own website like your portfolio, you create your own web applications, you experiment with different techniques and technologies, you build projects that interest you. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become in your skills. And the third one is you have to use online resources, which is that is where we come in. Code Crush, we are an online resource. So, but there are so many online resources available to help you learn web development. Tutorials, courses, forums. You have to take advantages of all these resources that you have online to expand your knowledge and get the answer to your questions about web development using those online resources. And it is not just by using any online resources, you have to use it accordingly. You have to know, okay, I need to learn HTML before going to CSS, before going to JavaScript. You don't just jump to JavaScript and you now say, okay, I'm now comfortable with JavaScript, how does HTML work? You won't even get the understanding. So using those online resources also implies that you use them the right way. There are steps to these things, so you have to understand. It is called a roadmap. You have to understand the roadmap. It's point A to point B to point C. So after you have you have had that opportunity of having online resources, learning on yourself, The number fourth learning process is you have to learn from others. It is not just okay for a software engineer or a web developer to just stick to him or herself alone. It gets boring and it gets tiring and it's so isolating. So networking and collaboration are essential in web development. It's something you can't do without. You need to collaborate with other designers, other developer, other engineers. You need to network with people, and you need to attend meetups, conferences. You join online communities that are into the aspect you are pursuing. You participate in open source projects. Learning from others can help you a long way. It make you to stay up to date with the latest trends and best practices and provide you with valuable feedback on your work. Because as you're learning with others, you are discussing, you are showing your work to others, and you're getting corrections in the area that is needed, you're getting recommendations also. So that's the area of networking and collaboration. And the fifth step, you have to stay up to date with technology. You don't just learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and you stick to that. And your technology is advancing. And when it comes to web development, it is a fast-paced field, and new technologies and tools are constantly emerging. So you need to stay up to date with the latest and best practices. By reading blogs, following industry leaders on social media. You have a professional site like LinkedIn. Everybody know that LinkedIn is for professionals strictly, mostly. Let's say mostly are for professionals. So you can look up people on LinkedIn that are into what you are trying to pursue. You follow them up, listen to them, engage with them, attend conference and webinars. That will keep you up to date with the current trend in technology. And the sixth process here is you need to focus on user experience, which is one of the watchword of web development. Web development it's not just it's not just about you writing code. You don't just come, you write your HTML, write your CSS, write your JavaScript, and you say you're done, and it should just be the way. It's about creating a user experience. Someone needs your service, need your app, need an app, or need a site. It's for an essence. So you need to focus mostly on the user experience. Mostly when we get to the back end side, that's why it is called the back end. Most of the happenings happen at the back end of it. So focusing on the user experience, that is where the front engineers comes in, and that is where your HTML and CSS are actually valuable at this level. So you need to keep the user in mind throughout the development process and focus on building websites and web applications that are intuitive, easy to use, and visually appealing. And the last but not least is you test your code. So testing code, it's one of the practice of a software engineer, web developer. After going on through this process and all of that, it's an essential part of web development. We have tools like unit test and integration test to ensure that your code works as intended and catch bugs early in the development process. So you have to test it. So understanding web development, it requires a lot of hard work and dedication. It's not just a one-time thing, or like say something you learn in a day or even in a month. Some do take years, to be confident enough. But going through these practices would speed up your learning process. So it comes with hard work and dedication. But when you follow these best practices, you can make the learning process more manageable and enjoyable. It's worth doing what you love by gaining more experience. So making your web development journey more enjoyable. You know, don't forget we talked about starting from the basic. After you understand the basic, you're confident in it, you practice. In your practicing, you also use online resources, you learn from others. As you're learning, you're using online resources, you're learning, you stay up to date with the current trend in technology. As you're doing that, you make sure that your design is focused on user experience, and you remember to always test your code. And with time and effort, you can become a skilled and successful web developer. And we have to cut the curtain here. And it's a very nice time having you with us. And we indulge you to check back. And we have other lectures that are upcoming. Elaborate teachings about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and more tutorials. Give you tutorials, take you through processes from the scratch, teach you how to go about designing your website, designing your web application. But we don't just want to jump into that. We want to give you the background knowledge that you need, that will be like a backing to you in this journey. So we pray, we hope you come back and stick with us by giving us a thumbs up, hitting the subscribing button, and the notification bell also, so that you get a notification when the next lecture or the next video is being posted on our page, on our channel. And also you can follow us on other social sites. You can follow us on LinkedIn. Check this link in the description and hit us up. You can contact us for collaboration. You can contact us for networking. You can contact us for your web and development jobs, and you can refer us also. So thank you for your time, and see you in our next video.